Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf. Did you know that happiness can increase your productivity by 31%? Or that optimistic salespeople outsell their pessimistic counterparts by 56%? These aren't just feel-good statistics. They're game-changing insights that could revolutionize the way you approach success. I'm your host, and today we're diving into The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor, a book that turns traditional thinking about success and happiness on its head. Imagine for a moment that you're back in school. Your teacher tells you that if you work hard and become successful, then you'll be happy. It's a mantra we've all heard countless times, but what if I told you that this formula is fundamentally flawed? What if happiness isn't the reward for success, but the fuel that drives it? This is the groundbreaking premise of The Happiness Advantage, and it's about to change everything you thought you knew about achieving your goals. In the next 15 minutes, we'll explore how cultivating happiness can be your secret weapon for success. We'll delve into cutting-edge research from the fields of positive psychology and neuroscience, and uncover practical strategies you can use to rewire your brain for positivity, boost your productivity, and gain a competitive edge in both your professional and personal life. But before we dive in, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two employees at a high-pressure job. Both are equally talented and hardworking, but one consistently outperforms the other, handles stress better, and is more likely to get promoted. What's the difference? It's not their skills or their work ethic. It's their mindset. The high performer has learned to harness the power of positivity, and it's giving them a significant advantage. This isn't just anecdotal evidence. It's backed by rigorous scientific research. Studies have shown that doctors put in a positive mood before making a diagnosis show almost 3 times more intelligence and creativity than doctors in a neutral state. They also make accurate diagnoses 19% faster. Optimistic salespeople outsell their pessimistic counterparts by 56%. Students primed to feel happy before taking math achievement tests far outperform their neutral peers. These findings form the foundation of what Sean Achor calls the happiness advantage. It's a revolutionary approach that flips the script on how we think about success and happiness. Instead of seeing happiness as a reward for our accomplishments, we need to recognize it as a tool that can help us achieve those accomplishments in the first place. So, how does this work? How can simply being happier make us more successful? To understand this, we need to look at what happiness does to our brains. When we experience positive emotions, our brains are flooded with dopamine and serotonin. These neurochemicals do more than just make us feel good. They activate learning centers in our brains, allowing us to organize new information, keep that information in the brain longer, and retrieve it faster later on. They also help us think more quickly and creatively, improve our ability to analyze and problem solve, and enable us to see and invent new ways of doing things. In essence, happiness creates a brain that functions optimally. It helps us become smarter, more motivated, and thus more successful. This is why Achor argues that happiness is the center, and success revolves around it. But here's the really exciting part. We can actively cultivate this happiness advantage. Our brains are incredibly malleable, and with consistent effort, we can rewire them to be more positive. This isn't about putting on a fake smile or ignoring life's challenges. It's about training our brains to scan the world for opportunities and possibilities, even in the face of difficulty. Achor suggests several strategies for doing this. One of the simplest yet most effective is the practice of gratitude. By writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, you're training your brain to scan for positives in your environment. This isn't just feel-good advice. It's a scientifically proven method for increasing happiness and life satisfaction. Another powerful technique is meditation. Even just 5 minutes of meditation a day can significantly increase your sense of calm and contentment. It helps you become more aware of your thoughts and gives you greater control over your reactions to stress. Exercise is another crucial component. Physical activity releases endorphins, which boost mood and reduce stress. But the benefits go beyond just feeling good in the moment. Regular exercise has been shown to be as effective as antidepressant medication in treating depression, and it has a much lower relapse rate. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm too busy to focus on being happy. I have goals to achieve and deadlines to meet. But that's exactly the point. By taking the time to cultivate happiness, you're not detracting from your productivity, you're supercharging it. Let's look at a real-world example. In 2009, HR was brought in to speak to a group of vice presidents at a global credit card company. The company had just announced massive layoffs and restructuring, and morale was at an all-time low. Despite the grim circumstances, Ashur found that by introducing simple happiness-boosting practices, he was able to significantly improve both individual and team performance. One of the practices he introduced was the 3 good things exercise. At the end of each day, employees were asked to write down 3 things that went well and why. This simple act of focusing on positives, even in a challenging environment, began to shift the company culture. Employees reported feeling more optimistic and engaged, and this translated into improved performance metrics across the board. But the happiness advantage isn't just about individual performance. It has a ripple effect that can transform entire organizations. When leaders prioritize happiness and well-being, it creates a positive work environment that fosters creativity, collaboration, and innovation. Take the example of Zappos, the online shoe retailer known for its exceptional customer service. CEO Tony Hassier has made happiness a core part of the company's culture. They have a dedicated team whose sole purpose is to create fun and a little weirdness in the workplace. This might sound frivolous, but the results speak for themselves. Zappos consistently ranks as one of the best places to work, and their customer satisfaction ratings are off the charts. But it's not just about creating a fun work environment. It's about fostering a mindset of positivity and possibility. When employees feel happy and supported, they're more likely to go above and beyond in their roles. They're more resilient in the face of challenges, more creative in problem solving, and more committed to the organization's goals. This brings us to another crucial aspect of the happiness advantage: social connections. Ashur's research has shown that social support is the greatest predictor of happiness during periods of high stress. In fact, he found that the correlation between social support and happiness was 0.7. This may not sound impressive, but for researchers, it's huge. Most psychology findings are considered significant when they hit 0.3. What does this mean in practical terms? It means that fostering strong social connections at work isn't just nice to have. It's a critical factor in both individual and organizational success. When we have strong relationships with our colleagues, we're more engaged, more productive, and more resilient in the face of challenges. But building these connections doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes to chat with a coworker about their weekend, or organizing team lunches. The key is to create opportunities for genuine human connection in the workplace. Now, let's talk about how we can rewire our brains for success. This is where the concept of neuroplasticity comes in. For a long time, scientists believed that our brains were fixed by adulthood. But we now know that our brains remain malleable throughout our lives. We can create new neural pathways and strengthen existing ones through repeated practice. This means that we can literally train our brains to be more positive. One way to do this is through what Ashur calls the Tetris effect. This is named after a study where people who played Tetris for hours started seeing falling shapes in their mind's eye even when they weren't playing. The same principle applies to how we view the world. If we consistently practice looking for positives, our brains will start doing it automatically. Here's a practical exercise to harness the Tetris effect. Each day for a week, take 2 minutes to write down 3 new things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. It could be as simple as a delicious cup of coffee or a kind word from a colleague. The key is that they're different each day. This forces your brain to scan your environment for positives, creating a new pattern of thinking. Another powerful technique is the 20-second rule. This is based on the idea that the biggest barrier to changing our habits is the activation energy required to start. By reducing the activation energy for habits we want to adopt, and increasing it for habits we want to avoid, we can create lasting change. For example, if you want to read more, place a book next to your bed and move your phone to another room. This small change reduces the activation energy for reading and increases it for scrolling through social media. Over time, this can lead to a significant shift in behavior. Now, let's talk about how we can apply these principles in high-pressure situations. One of the most powerful concepts in the happiness advantage is what Ashur calls falling up. This is the idea that we can use setbacks and failures as opportunities for growth. When we encounter adversity, our brains create mental maps of the event. Most people see only two paths on this map, one that leads in a circle back to the same spot, and one that leads to further negative consequences. But there's always a third path, one that leads us to a place better than where we started. The key is training our brains to see and capitalize on this path. Here's a practical way to do this. The next time you face a setback, practice what psychologists call explanatory style. Instead of seeing the setback as permanent and pervasive, view it as temporary and specific. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at presentations," reframe it as, "That particular presentation didn't go as well as I hoped. What can I learn from this to improve next time?" This shift in perspective doesn't just make you feel better, it actually improves your performance. Studies have shown that people with an optimistic explanatory style are more successful in a wide range of fields, from sports to sales to academia. But perhaps the most powerful application of the happiness advantage is in leadership. When leaders prioritize happiness and well-being, both their own and their teams, it can transform entire organizations. Consider the case of Burt's Bees, the natural personal care products company. When John Replogle took over as CEO, he made happiness a core part of the company's strategy. He started each meeting by asking team members to share something they were grateful for or a recent achievement. He implemented flexible work schedules and encouraged employees to pursue passion projects. The results were remarkable. Employee satisfaction soared, and with it, productivity and innovation. In the midst of a recession, Burt's Bees grew to become a billion-dollar brand. This example illustrates a crucial point. Happiness isn't just about feeling good. It's a pragmatic strategy for achieving better results. When we're happy, we're more engaged, more creative, and more productive. We're better able to handle stress and overcome challenges. In short, we're better equipped to succeed in every area of life. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 21 days, commit to one of the happiness-boosting practices we've discussed. Maybe it's the gratitude exercise, or the 20-second rule, or making an effort to strengthen your social connections at work. Whatever you choose, stick with it for 21 days. This is roughly how long it takes to form a new habit. At the end of those 21 days, take stock. Notice how you feel, how you're performing at work, how you're interacting with others. Chances are, you'll see a significant positive change. Remember, happiness isn't just a fleeting emotion or a reward for success. It's a powerful tool that can help you achieve your goals and live a more fulfilling life. By harnessing the happiness advantage, you're not just improving your own life, you're creating a ripple effect that can transform your workplace, your relationships, and your community. As Sean Achor says, happiness is not about lying to ourselves or turning a blind eye to the negative, but about adjusting our brains so that we see the ways to rise above our circumstances. So, let's rise together. Let's embrace the happiness advantage and see just how far it can take us. Before we go, I want to remind you that you can find a link to Purchase the Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor in the episode description. Whether you prefer a physical copy or an audiobook, diving deeper into these concepts can be a game changer for your personal and professional life. Thank you for joining me on CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. Until next time, keep scanning for those positives, nurture your social connections, and remember, your happiness is your greatest competitive advantage. Here's to your success.